One night he woke up in the middle of the night and called me the other woman's name. Am I overreacting, cheating wife, or am I just being jealous? So the husband is just saying they are in a weird spot right now. She actually moved out and wants to start over just being friends, even though they've been together for 5 years. And he's saying recently she's been avoiding my texts and hanging out with her friends. They have the Life 360 app, so he can see her location. And he's saying the last couple of nights, she's been sitting in the parking lot of a store until 1:30 a.m. And she's been hanging out with her guy best friend. And he's saying last night I saw her side of the family's group chat, and they were at her mom's house doing a puzzle. Is it innocent or is she cheating? I don't know. And someone said you're still with a woman who's acting like this? Someone said I wouldn't even be her friend after that. Someone said she's keeping you as a backup plan. If the best guy friend doesn't work out, she'll suddenly care about repairing your marriage. Don't be her safety net. Walk away. Family friend cheating with stepson. Am I the a-hole for telling her husband? His wife came home after a visit with her and her friend, but the friend of the wife told her that she fell in love or has fallen in love with a 21-year-old stepson, and they were planning on moving out while her husband was working several hundred miles away. And the husband, the first thing he does is pick up the phone and let him know what is going on. And so he took a flight home and confronted her. And now they're all saying I stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Her because I told on her, and the husband is mad because he lost money and could have waited until he got home to tell him. And their son because I destroyed his relationship with his father. And he said, my wife only told me because she was feeling disgusted and anxious about what she learned. Am I the a hole? And someone said, you gave him the information. What he did is his choice. And someone said, I don't get why the husband would be mad. I feel like that's a good friend. Like, that's the kind of friend you want to have. Not the someone that's gonna, like, lie to you and not tell you. Like, what if he did come back a month later or 3 months later, however long, and then it's like, oh, you knew this whole time? Like, why didn't you tell me? I feel like he's just mad because his marriage is falling apart and maybe he's blaming someone other than her. Yeah, someone said, I mean, is it ever a good time to be told that your wife and your son are in love and running away together? That is really sad, though. Am I overreacting? My girlfriend and I went on a break. She slept with someone else, and I blocked her on everything. So he's starting off with saying, I never thought I'd be writing one of these, but here we are. So they're in their early 20s, like 21, 22. And he tells her that he needs a break and some time to reflect on a relationship. And apparently she said she didn't want a break. She just wanted things to end. And so they ended. And he's saying, fast forward a few days ago. And they met up in person to talk about stuff and exchange items of each other's that we still had. And apparently she wanted him back and would do anything. But she also said that she made out with another guy during our break, which I didn't have a problem with because we had already broken up. But he did say it like it hurt because she moved on so fast. And he said the meetup was really messy, a lot of tears, and she told him that she still loved him. And he said there was a few red flags in our relationship, which is why we broke up in the first place. But he was considering trying things again with her. And so yesterday, they catch up again, and he's telling her, you know what, you're right. Well, I want us to get back together. But then she tells him that she went all the way with the guy that she made out with, less than 24 hours after she broke down crying, asking me to take her back. So he immediately told her, we're done. Blocked her on everything. He's asking, did I overreact to her sleeping with someone else after she told me she wanted me back? I think the problem is, how can you go from kissing a guy and then saying that you love your partner or your ex-partner, want them back, and then go sleep with the same guy? Someone said non-overreaction. You aren't in a relationship, and you can decide to stay out of one with her for any reason you want to whatsoever. And someone said breaks aren't real. You're either in a relationship or you're out. And someone's saying, well, they were actually broken up, so fair game. Like, she told him that she did stuff, and he was okay with it. I think the problem is when you're literally telling someone that you love them and want to be with them and then go sleep with someone, then yes, you have quote unquote fair game, but it's like, okay, your actions don't match with your words. I think that's where the problem lies. Am I overreacting if I divorced my husband for talking to a girl he fell in love with while I was pregnant? So there's a couple, and they have been married for almost 9 years. They've been trying to have kids for 5 years, and this haven't been successful. So they finally decided, like, okay, we're not gonna have them, and it's okay. But then a month later, she found out she was pregnant with twins. I hear this all the time. It's crazy. Mother's Day weekend, 2024. They had gone to a festival with a few friends that they met at a bar Halloween, like a couple years prior. She said, I liked the woman enough. Um, she's like, we were friends, but the two of them talked quite a bit over the years, platonically. and much more than I ever talked to her. But she's like, anyways, I was pregnant at the festival, and I felt like I was the third wheel. He was trying to make sure she was okay and stand by her side because they were drinking. And of course, I wasn't. And so she's just saying, I chalked it up to the fact that they were on substances. And she's saying that she felt like he had no concern for me at all, his pregnant wife. She's saying I spent most of the festival alone because two of them would go to different stages and like leave her. And she was too tired to do anything because of pregnancy. Oh my gosh, I'm like getting heated. We all stay at a hotel, she's saying, and her husband and her are in one room. She's in another room. He offered to pay for her room, but she was like, I am the breadwinner, would be the actual one paying for it. The entitlement of some people, I can't. Oh, I gotta calm myself down. So the next day is on actual Mother's Day, and they all decide to go to a famous cemetery in Los Angeles. They were walking around the cemetery, and she does like, not her, but like the other woman does like these modeling poses. And he was taking pictures of her. And she's like, I didn't know this was the reason they wanted to go to the cemetery. And I definitely didn't understand why on Mother's Day, while I was pregnant with twins, was wandering around a cemetery so my husband can take pictures of this girl I barely knew. They leave the cemetery, and she asks her husband if we're going to do anything for Mother's Day. And this man, this child, I don't even want to call him a man. I feel bad calling him a child because that's like rude to children. He says, why? You're not even a real mom yet. She said I flipped out. I was ugly crying at the hotel pool after this. And she finally approached him about the weird interactions they had been having. And of course, he assures her that nothing is wrong, nothing is weird, they're just good friends. And I do think there can be lovely relationships, but not like this, in my opinion. So a couple of weeks go by, and they're at the house. And she was looking for a notebook of hers. And she wants to make it clear that these are her notebooks she bought for her job, okay? And she found one of the notebooks among his things. And she thought, like, that's weird. And so she opened it. And she found that he was writing in it these notes. And she said, all hell broke loose. She's like, I knew I was being gaslit. I was devastated and wanted a divorce. I scheduled an abortion that would happen in 18 weeks. She said, I personally don't think I could survive my own mind if I went through with the abortion. He apologized. He convinced me not to go through with the abortion and that he never actually cheated. I hate when they say that. Like, I never actually did anything. You know what? Mm-mm. And there wasn't actually anything going on between them. And so she asked her, the woman, and of course she was reassuring her too and backed off and eventually blocked him only after she kept asking him to. And she's saying, I don't really think they had a real relationship. Like, I don't think they actually, quote unquote, made love or anything, but he definitely was in love with her. And despite what the notes say, I don't think she had paid any interest romantically. So she calls off the abortion and decides that he didn't sleep with her and it would work out. So he started going to therapy, and they eventually like couldn't do therapy anymore because it was expensive, but they were like trying. One night he woke up in the middle of the night and called me the other woman's name. I'm literally about to cry for this woman right now. And an argument started, of course, because why wouldn't it? And this was when she was very close to giving birth. And she just says, I just feel so heartbroken. I feel like I could die. And she had the kids around Thanksgiving, or actually on Thanksgiving. And they're beautiful, healthy boys. And now they're 13 months old. And she finds out that he is talking to her again. Running into her at the school they supposedly both go to. And she's like, but I don't think she even goes to school. Or that school specifically. And she's like, I have been sitting on this for weeks. And I finally approach him. Stop talking to her or we're getting a divorce. He doesn't want a divorce, but he also doesn't want to stop talking to her. And because she's the breadwinner, she's saying divorce for me means that I would have to pay a lot of alimony and possibly child support if we were 50-50. But she's like, maybe not a divorce, but maybe just being separated but living together for the kids. She just says, I just don't know anymore. Oh my gosh. And that's a problem I have with people who cheat. They want to cheat, but they don't want the consequences. They want to cry and feel bad about them for themselves and do all these things. And it's like, okay, you literally chose this. You knew I wasn't comfortable with this, and you went out and did it, and then you're surprised that I want a divorce, but you don't want a divorce, but you don't want to do what I ask, which is breaking my heart and ruining our family. Someone said not overreacting, but you probably should have divorced him while you were pregnant. He's never going to stop dealing with this woman. I suspect she'll dump him as soon as you file for divorce because she probably only wants the chase. Maybe talk to an attorney first and see what they have to say. So, updates. She unblocked the woman and spoke to her via text, also sent her the notebook pictures, and after a long conversation with her, she's even more convinced that there's nothing from her part. If anything, she's saying she's the victim in all of this because he's basically been using her as an object of his own mind, fantasies, while essentially pretending to be her friend. And she's saying, I feel bad for her. Wow, that was a really heavy one. And someone said, girl, you know the answer. Leave him.